and our own, the value of our own inner world. And as an elder, I don't have any particular unique knowledge. I don't have some unique wisdom, but I do understand that any contact I have with anyone else is my time to offer my wholeness to their wholeness. Not to contort myself to appear in any certain way, but to be open and real. I almost want to say like the earth and the sky. You know, the earth provides support. And the sky gives us air and water and refreshes us and opens up a line of sight in every outer direction. So part of being elder is how far can I see in relation to this? What is the breadth of my view? Not from excluding any aspect of a situation, but including all of it. So the shift in aging goes from, one of the things that is involved is shifting from knowing and needing to know and be on top of everything, to trusting the operation of all things working together in a natural way, in a way that is true. And that's what our tradition calls great faith. Zen practice provides us with a vision of the way life functions. And it's accurate and encouraging, but cannot save us from sickness, old age, and death. But when we're animated by this wonderful practice, this attitude of just this, now, here, then we are liberated in every direction. Every direction is a friendly direction when we don't come into opposition to it. Every direction is friendly. So that's what I would want to say at this point about practice and old age. And I'd love to hear now from you guys. Anything that you have to share in relation to this moment, this ongoing moment.
Folks, I can help too to watch the screen, but if you'd like to speak and share something, just put your hands in gusho and unmute yourself. Seiryu, were you gonna start there, or were you just gushoing? Guys going? Okay. Who would like to offer something? Holly, go ahead.
Yeah, I've just recently been listening to Thomas More's book, Ageless Soul, which isn't about being ageless, but he talks about all sorts of interesting things like what is that? Symbols and just the whole thing of aging and how we can kind of accept and relax into it. I really like his writing. Anyway, I was gonna say, you were talking about the being invisible, and I guess being an introvert, I sort of like being invisible. It gives you it relieves you from all that beauty stuff that used to happen, you know, and attention and stuff. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mushin, I wonder if you could say, I really liked what you were starting off there with elderhood. And that's one of the subjects we touched on. And you know, I've been reading Jenkinson and very interested in this stage. And you said something about something, let me see, I made a little note there, offer my wholeness to their wholeness. And I wonder if you can talk some more about what elderhood looks like and how it might arrive in the particular, where it's moving, where it's not moving. Because one of the things we've been talking about is you're not automatically made an elder by age. And how does one become an elder? And what does it mean?
Right. Well, I don't know. but you know, how I think about that for myself is it's really, it's so, going through a long life, wanting to fit in, to succeed, to be liked, to be successful, having to somehow reckon with the exterior cultural expectations. It can be kind of a revolutionary possibility to say, I can just now come to know and to listen to all the voices in me, and maybe let energies, voices, any perspectives express themselves in my life in ways that they haven't been, because I'm so used to kind of watching over and making sure that I stayed within the lines, you know. And I don't know about you, but there's a lot in my life that I have not expressed. And so being an elder means making room for that, and also really appreciating those voices that other people give voice to, that are not necessarily the ones that we all think are proper and right. So being an elder actually, rather than closing down, getting way more inclusive in what is fine and worthy. And also you lend, as an elder, a self-respecting, dignified elder has tremendous power. Mm-hmm. And that is something that comes in the body. That's the central channel, when the voice comes through the central channel. And you can really empower, as an elder, you can empower younger people to follow what is not the expected, but what is what is being called for, which is totally the time we're in now, is to be able to do that. So to be able to show up, if that is our bent, I mean, a lot of us and a lot of people in Zen are really kind of deep introverts, and we're not drawn to public displays of anything. But it may be that some also have a gregarious side and can show up in a way that's really important at a time like this, to give vision to the humane and the most kind of wisdom aspect of being a human being, which is not so much the way we have been living as a capitalist society. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We haven't been following the human, the joy, mm-hmm. the play, the creative, mm-hmm. and the permission to, and I'll use the word lazy, but the permission to be non-productive, but to enjoy the moment, mm-hmm. and to indwell mm-hmm. in the moments, in the very ordinary activities.
Beautiful.
What about you? What would you say about that?
I'm still playing. I like what you're saying. And I find as I've been interviewing people at the farm, young people in their 20s, I see that edge emerging in my own life and actually in more tension of that, seeing what for young people is being put forth and what shadow sides, the creative and the less acceptable, are also present. I see that. And yeah, I like what you said. The dignity and the capacity to be larger and to dwell and the dignity in a body that may be declining in a certain kind of vigor has the capacity of real presence. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
How about others in the room? What's coming up for you as you hear Mushin unfolding this? Yeah, Seiryu. Okay.
I really appreciated your talk, Mushin. I find myself it's kind of caught between being present right now and because I see aging coming more and more, as you said, having both some fear, but I wouldn't call it just fear. It's also knowing I need to prepare for that time when I will be more frail, and how to keep the balance between living fully in this present moment and preparing for the future. So perhaps you could speak to that.
Yeah, and now's the time to prepare. Don't wait. I mean, I always think of that when thinking about moving into a simpler living situation. Do it now. If you kind of articulate to yourself what is needed in the future, don't wait, because one fall can change everything. So yeah, I think that's true. We prepare. That's prudent, isn't it? To prepare for what is most likely, if we live long enough, we're going to become frail. So what are the things we can prepare? What are the things we can't prepare? And not to not to miss the moment while we're also preparing for what's to come. Yeah. Is there anything problematic about that you see? About
I'm still the squirrel going up the tree a little bit, and so I'm wanting to be still productive and doing things, and not quite ready to move on yet.
Yeah.
Or even clean up the closet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, everybody has different pacing. And I think one of the things I've noticed is that there are days when I am old, and there are days when I'm not any age. I have full energy, and everything's the way it's always been. But it's changing its weightedness. So day by day. Yeah.
I think Jim had his hands up. Jim?
Jim.
I used to take long distance bicycle trips. Our family would go for a week at a time. And one of the things that a bicyclist on a trip learns soon is you trudge and you trudge and you trudge to get up the hill, to get to the top, looking forward to that beautiful downhill on the other side. And you get to the top and you see that your view is obscured and there's still another hill that's even taller in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think I'm experiencing that as I get older. The beauty of it, though, is that I'm beginning to find that there is an even greater adventure waiting for me as my body caves in and as things don't work as well as they used to. We raised our children to go out into the world and develop their finest selves. And now we're talking, in about a year, we're going to move back to the east to be with them because we don't want them to have to take care of us eventually at long distance. And amazingly, I don't know why this surprises me, they are treating us as we treated them. They are now saying, okay, how are Ann and I going to develop our best selves? And what I'm realizing is that my best self can be an amazing example to them of how to live a productive life. And I don't think of it so much as being an elder as, but I think it matches what we're talking about is elderhood.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And at the same time, it's yet another trip into the unknown,
Yeah.
yet a bigger hill in front of me.
And it's a plan.
And it is a plan indeed.
And we all know about plans.
Tell me about plans.
Well, the best laid plans.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
of mice and men, yes.
Oh, but you know, this reminds me, not specifically, but you did, Jim, just bring to mind something that, was it Kyogen said that well, he didn't say it in this way, but one of the jobs of the elder, of an elder, is not to be afraid to die. When the elders are not afraid to die, the youngers are not afraid to live. And one of the things I talk about all the time with my kids is when I die, because it is such a natural moment. It's not a tragedy. It comes when it comes. It can be difficult or it can be very peaceful, whatever. Who knows? It's like a birth. We never know what the birth's going to be like. We don't know what the death's going to be like. But to really include it in our way of being and what we referring to death in a culture where death is so avoided and so feared. It's a real service of an elder to be able to be very at peace about the fact that death is obviously going to arrive at some point. It's going to happen. Actually, it's in the process of happening. It's not just a single moment. You know, there are all kinds of things that are slowly coming apart in preparation, like the prodromal labor. When you go into labor, sometimes for weeks before, the uterus is working and starting to get the baby ready to emerge. And it's same true with an aging body. It's getting us ready to leave and drop it and experience the great unbinding, which is what we can call death, the great unbinding. So that's another aspect of elderhood, is coming into much more nuanced relationship with death.
Nice. How about Junyo?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Is there a book that you recommend that talks about preparing for aging, preparing for the inevitable, things to get in order?
Well, Seldo, you can pick this up too. First of all, things to get in order. I have a list of everything that needs to be in order when we die, which is a really good thing to have and to work on because it's a lot. But the more that's all prepared in advance, the more the people who are left after we go can mourn our loss rather than, you know, kind of curse us for leaving them with this terrible job of trying to figure out where things are and what should be done. So yeah, there's a list. And then there are some wonderful books about aging. Right at the moment, I should have made a list of the ones. Seldo, do you remember the one that I recommended to you by the doctor who?
Oh, I don't remember her name
Gerontologist?
or the title of that, but I am thinking of You know, Junyo is asking a question. We have a lot from our workshops on death and dying, which really are talking about really the end time. But the aging process and the preparation of retirement and downscaling and health is a kind of, I think of as another genre. And people seem to like Lou Richmond's book on aging. We talked about last week, who's a Zen teacher, and Ezra Baida has a really good book on aging. That kind of are in that sort of what you're saying, the uterus, the preparation, the things that are changing, how to deal with the changing body, and those are two that come to mind that are out there, and there are not as many. Remember, Chosen was saying there aren't as many as we'd think written about this period of life from a spiritual perspective. Also, Singh has a book on the spiritual nature of dying. Kathleen Dowling Singh,
Yeah. Yeah.
has a book on the spiritual aspect.
Yeah. It's true that it's retirement is a whole other process. It depends on how long your life is. I mean, sometimes people retire and then they die right away. But more and more people retire and have a whole stage of life, 30 years post-retirement or something. And my experience with retirement, I guess I'm retired. I don't know. But it's a really long process. So you start to think about it. And then after a while, you set a date for it. And then you do it. And then you're in your first year of retirement. And then you're in your second year. And I think it keeps progressing. It's not just one day, oh, you're retired and everything's different. It's the same as everything in life. It's a day-by-day situation, a moment-by-moment situation. And retirement can be very, very disturbing and destabilizing for all kinds of reasons, one of which is just you suddenly don't have a schedule. And it's amazing how much rhythm is involved in a sense of well-being. And so that's another thing, it brings to mind that in the aging process, just like some days you have a whole lot of energy and some days you just don't, to be able to make room for a varying rhythm, so that when you don't have a whole lot of energy, you can enjoy, you can savor the freedom to just read a book or sit and watch the birds outside or take a slow walk or whatever. You don't have to keep, and then other days you have more energy and you just do a lot of stuff. But this rhythm.
Sorry, Josu, Josu's waiting on a question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Josu, we're gonna unmute there.
Thank you. Well, my body is changing, and even though I'm chronologically 73, I don't feel old. So this old age thing doesn't make, I don't grok it. I don't really understand.
Yeah, well, that is how you're experiencing this. I think it's really important to make room to have your experience just as it is. And some people don't, I mean, my mother said it never occurred to her that she was old. And I think she said that when she was like 83. And I thought, that's weird, because I already think that I'm old. And I was 30 years younger than her. So I just think it's very individual. Yeah. And you may not feel old. That reminds me of the thing that Robert Aitken Roshi said. He said, when I peek out from under the covers in the morning, it's the same, I'm the same nose peeking over the covers as when I was 4 years old. It's just like the self is the self, and you just continue to be me. Yeah.
Holly, you want to add something?
This book, The Conversation, by Angelo Volandis. It's a revolutionary plan for end-of-life care. It's a really good nuts and bolts type of thing about all the forms and things you should do and and how can you talk to your children and your relatives and your whoever about it. And they also have a Facebook page and a website. So it's good stuff for this particular topic.
Mushin, we're going to run out of time in about 7 minutes, but I really wanted you to talk tonight about something that I can't always address, which is what happens to the forms of Zen practice as the body is changing, as one has been at it for decades. The kind of discipline that we've inherited has been for young bodies, and yet without the discipline, we have no practice. So how do you personally move through that? I know you do a lot of sesshin yourself, and yet have a different understanding probably than you did when you were in your 30s. So how do you negotiate that?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about that, except that to be able to sit comfortably is important. That it's not about that the benefit of practice doesn't come from tolerating excruciating pain. So to be able to move into a chair, it takes a while to find your seat, or it did for me, to find my Zazen seat in a chair. But once I did, it was very, very stable, and I could develop a really, the stillness that I enjoy in Zazen. The things that change are sesshin. Well, first of all, as over time, the samadhi deepens, and it is not such a stiff climb or descent or whatever to settle into samadhi. As you know it, the body knows it, the breath knows it, the energetic body knows it. And so you don't necessarily distinguish so much between Zazen and sitting in the garden as far as the state of mind goes and the degree of concentration. And that kind of concentration is brought into anything we do, especially when we're not pressured to have this very big agenda of activity. So Samu, doing the dishes can be a very deep practice. Taking a slow walk around the block, likewise. We bring the whole sensorium forward into our moments. So that relationship changes when you're young and before you've been practicing for a while. It's very important to sit in a certain way and to have a very upright posture, and because you don't know the territory of Zazen. It's cultivating a brand new garden. You're developing the soil. But once that soil is there, it's maintaining. And I think it's important to continue to sit, but it has a different, you bring a different temperament to it or something. And certainly earlier on in practice, there's striving. We talk about striving. We encourage striving. Great determination, almost in a muscular way, to just sit through the pain and sit through the distraction, because it takes a lot to just calm the body. And so that's different when we're older.
Thank you, Shan. We probably have time for one more question from the group or comment. Would anyone like to share something?
Is there anything that anybody's thinking that you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't say it because it may not be.
Ellen had her hands up.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, there you are. Okay.
I'm in the shadows a little bit, so I don't think you can see. I find myself really resisting aging, and a part of that I think is not really accepting my own mortality. So I resent it if somebody, offers to help me carry something or says, "Do you need a hand?" or things like that, because it's just they're obviously seeing me as aged, but I don't see me that way. I think Josu said something similar. It's my birthday today. I don't feel 71, and but it sure is a reminder each year. And I don't know how, still struggling with the whole idea of mortality really impacts the development of that aging process or coming to terms with that. It seems like you would have to accept your mortality before you would, feel some kind of okayness and appreciation of the aging. So I'm kind of stuck with it anyway at that point. Try myself kind of avoiding as much as I can, thinking about it. And my mother's 97 and she's still living. And so I feel like I don't have to worry about it for a while, and I'm, she's next in line before me. So anyway, those things seem to be kind of barriers to, aging is going to happen whether I want it to or not, but my ability to have some peace with it seems far away right now.
I think what you're bringing up is really, really important. It kind of goes to the heart of practice. The matter of life or death, life and death is often what we talk about. Zen is really looking into the matter of life and death. And when death is something at a great distance, which it can be held almost like a stereotype idea, then it's how can you possibly be at peace with it? But in practice, it's interesting how there's something that happens over time, and you're a new practitioner,
right?
And already you already see some of the changes that have happened in just a very short period of practice time. That continues. It's not, practice doesn't have a one-on-one, you do this, you get that. But over time, it really has refining. There's a great refinement that happens in how we perceive things and think about things. And death is, I don't know. I guess the times that I have brushed death is when I really woke up to the fact that it is not to be feared. It is a moment. It's a vivid moment. As far as I know. I don't know what it is. But there's a kind of vividness that is not to be feared. And I think that one of the things that happens when we meditate regularly is we confront so many different states of mind, and then they dissolve. And then everything dissolves. So,
Mushin, that's a beautiful, a beautiful ending to our evening. Want to make sure we end on time. We're a few minutes over, and thank you so much for coming tonight. This was a really beautiful discussion, very deep and heartfelt. And glad that you were here to share that. And I'm sure we'll have a rich discussion next week as well. Everyone's welcome to come join in one more class on this subject and then a lifetime of work. So thank you. I'm learning from everybody as much as studying my own life. And so good to see you, Mushin. So please take care. Happy solstice to all. Deep in darkness, may it nestle you in your practice. And we'll see you all next time. Good night, all.
Seiryu, will you stay on?
Yeah, I'll stay on.
Thank you, Mushin.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. This was really very wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Mushin.
Opportunity.
Thank you.